Welcome back to Pope's Plates. Today we're going to be making individual shepherd's pie. Shepherd pies. I'm not sure which one is the plural. I'm a little bit neurodiverse, and so I have some sensory sensitivities, and one of them is peeling potatoes. I do not like the way they feel, kind of like peaches. My mom is peeling the potatoes for me. We're starting the potatoes, we're going to put them in some salted water because the top of shepherd's pie is traditionally mashed potatoes. And even though ours are going to be individual shepherd's pie, we're going to top them with potatoes, and we put them in the oven so that the potatoes brown. We're making this because we made some pasties. I think you'll see that video before this one, I'm pretty sure, in the lineup. And we had a few things left over, and rather than, I don't know, let it go bad or forget about it, we decided we would freeze the things we had left over and in a few days make more.
Alexa, stop.
You can also use instant potatoes, but I happen to have some potatoes. Fun fact about instant potatoes. I did not know this, and I saw it on the internet, so there's a possibility it's not true, but I think it is, that when you are watching a TV show and you see that it's snowing, they're actually dropping instant potatoes because they're thick so that you can see them on camera, and they're light so that they blow in the wind. Fun fact you didn't even know you came here for, and you're leaving with totally useless information. All right, we're going to put some salt in our water. I'm gonna maybe turn this on. My mom's stove and I are not great friends, although she's not great friends with it either. As soon as this comes to a boil, we're gonna put the potatoes in and we'll come back to you. Our shepherd's pie calls for a medium yellow onion. Actually, if I were making it for just myself, I would use a red onion. Those are my preference. But one, I didn't have one. And two, it calls for a yellow onion. Now I'm going to cut these rather thinly, small, because they do cook in the hamburger fat for a little bit, but I would not mind it. I've been told, and my mom can confirm or deny this, but I've been told that when I was little, I used to eat onions like apples. So I would not care to bite into a large chunk of onion, but other people might not have the same love that I do. When I was little, I also wanted to marry cottage cheese. Like, legitimately marry cottage cheese. I was an odd child. You know what? I'm going to cut a little bit more onion, but I'm not going to cut the entire rest of this because that's an awful lot of onion for 1 pound of ground beef. Now, the next thing, we had some grated carrots, and I did not tell the person I live with, and they got thrown away. Totally my fault. And so rather than using grated carrots, let me check on my potatoes. Great, they're looking good. Rather than using grated potatoes, we're going to use these small baby small baby carrots. I'm really going to cut them not as small as I can, but really small. I mean, you can barely see that in between my fingers because carrots are very dense and tend to take a long time to cook. I also am not going to put as many carrots as I normally would. When we made our pasties, Mom and I both thought, didn't you think that they were a little too sweet? That we put in a little bit too many carrots. There's nothing wrong with them. They actually tasted really good. I can't wait for y'all to watch that video. I had to break in twice when we were editing to explain the disaster that we created. Well, that the dough created. But it's a funny one. If we were ever to make a blooper episode, there would be lots of takes from that one. All right. So we have these cut. There's one I need to get a little bit better. Our potatoes are finished. Because these are going to go on top of our shepherd's pie, I want them, I don't want them super thin and runny. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons pats of butter. I'm going to use our electric mixer and just start it on low. All right, I'm going to get what's on the side. And get that going again. Okay, now as you can see, they are not yet creamy. Excuse me, Charlie. Thank you. And so rather than add milk or heavy cream, I am going to add, I'm going to start with maybe a 1/4 cup of sour cream. Now, what I will say is that it is okay, you know, people never want their mashed potatoes to be lumpy. It is okay if these are a little lumpy because you want to see the texture of the potatoes. I was not planning on putting any milk or heavy cream in here, but I'm going to make a little bit of a judgment call and put just a little bit in. All right, so I'm just going to put a dash, not even a 1/4 of a cup. I'm going to put some pepper, some salt, okay. It's time to make the filling for the shepherd's pie. I'm going to attempt to turn this on. It only took 3 tries. Yay. And then I'm going to take my mom's meat stabber. I don't know what it's called. Now this is we made the pasties and we had ground beef left. So we had about a pound of 80/20 ground beef left. Ooh, let me get that over there. Let me make sure I have it all out. Now this will probably take, we're only going to get it halfway before I get back to you. And I would say it would take me about 4 minutes, and then I will come back to you and we will put the rest of it together. I would say our ground beef is about maybe 1/3 brown. So I'm going to add our vegetables in. And this, we will still be able to drain out some of the fat if we find we need to. Our onions and carrots and ground beef have browned sufficiently. So while this is still on, and I'm going to put it on about medium, I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. And again, fresh garlic is always better, but we had this and, you know, groceries are expensive. So all right, we don't need to cook this long. Oh, I can smell it. That smells good. And then I'm going to put my flat leaf parsley in. Now, I am going to use a little bit of dried thyme because when I ordered the groceries, they didn't have any fresh thyme or I lost it, which is honestly probably the more likely thing. So I'm going to put in half, maybe a fourth of a teaspoon. Thyme is pretty strong. I may put a little bit more in than that. All right, so then I'm going to stir this up and I'm going to put in, I would say half, a little bit more than half a teaspoon of Worcestershire. I cannot say it, guys. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I have made a cornstarch slurry with beef broth. So I put about a tablespoon of beef broth, a tablespoon of cornstarch into probably maybe a half a cup, not two, half a cup of of beef broth. I'm going to mix it a little bit and I'm going to pour about half of it in here because you want there to be some thickness. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to pour the rest in. So I'm going to have my mom come over and take a look at this. I think we might need a little bit more beef broth slurry.
Yes.
Okay, so she's going to make that. And we're going to get this thickened up and made. We're going to assemble our shepherd's pie, and then we'll get back to you when we start to do that. Our beef mixture is ready. We ended up, I would say, adding another teaspoon of beef broth and maybe another teaspoon of cornstarch, maybe 2 teaspoons of beef broth. I'm going to add probably half a cup of frozen peas. If you add peas out of a can, I'm sure it will taste lovely. It will get really squished. So I'm just going to mix those in. It sounds like I've got BBs in here. Okay, we have these adorable, is that hot enough? Little individual cast iron skillets. We got in a store called Pop Shelf, which is one of my favorite places. I'm having a hard time getting this up. So we're going to put these in here. I'm going to use the edge of the pan. We have a very unhappy dog outside. As soon as we started making meat, he was chewing on the side of my pants, which I'm not really sure why. Okay, we may not have enough to fill up the big one, which is fine. Because again, we were just using things that we had left over. So it isn't, I would measure more carefully if you're having a dinner party. But we've got the 3 of them filled up well. So I'm going to set this to the side. Grab the green pea that went overboard. Put this one away because we're not going to use it. And then we're going to top it with our potatoes. Now, like when you have mashed potatoes, normally when you would top a pie of some kind, you wouldn't want it lumpy and high. But just like when you make mashed potatoes at home, you're going to have a good percentage of your meat and potatoes. So don't skimp on the potatoes. Oh, just got music over this part. I'm surprised it didn't make more. Aren't you? I like them more rustic, but if you think our shepherd's pie have come out of the oven. They look fantastic. There is definitely some crunch on the top. When we took them out, we could hear them sizzling. You may remember that I cut some parsley earlier. And so we're going to put some of this on the top just to add a little color and a little bit of flavor. Smells so good. I can definitely smell the garlic. This is a really great recipe if you're having a dinner party because you have individual shepherd's pies. You could serve it with green bean casserole or a spinach salad, really anything that you want. I hope that you make this, and if you do, I hope that you love it. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps the algorithm. Until we see you next time, let's keep cooking.